Welcome to Bread and Butter, the show looking behind the scenes of the hospitality business. I'm Wendy Hargreaves, and this show is brought to you by the Aussie tech company helping hospo thrive, HungryHungry. It's a huge show today with some very special guests, including TV chef Gary Mehigan, gun Vietnamese chef Jerry Mai, and barbecue guru Mike Patrick. But first, let's look at this week's hospitality news. Melbourne's restaurant and cafe owners have continued their campaign to reopen, presenting Premier Daniel Andrews with a detailed blueprint for COVID normal dining. The Restaurant and Caterers Association is counting on government backing to enforce the plan, which includes keeping the names and contact details of everyone they serve for 28 days, among a raft of other rules. Bread and Butter has also learned that hospitality insiders are working on a gold standard accreditation layer over and above the industry group's COVID safe plan before government. This accreditation would only be given to venues who meet extra health benchmarks, including COVID testing, contact tracing, contactless delivery and ordering, and mental health plans for staff, along with monthly microbial fogging. This would allow them to display a gold tick logo, so stay tuned to see what happens with that. Yesterday, Daniel Andrews rejected the industry's push for indoor dining, saying indoor environments were 20 times more dangerous for viral infection than outdoor environments. Mr. Andrews is pushing for outdoor dining from October 19, but indoor dining won't be allowed until Victoria has recorded 0 COVID cases for 2 weeks running. This has outraged some of Melbourne's best-known restaurateurs, hoteliers and cafe owners who say outdoor tables won't raise enough money to warrant reopening. But under current lockdown rules, Melburnians can still have picnics. 5 people from 2 households can gather in public parks, and this weekend's 27-degree forecast means the picnic catering market is booming. One South Yarra restaurateur isn't just selling lush French picnic boxes. Entrecôte's Jason Jones is also renting tables and chairs for diners to use in the Royal Botanic Gardens across the road from his French bistro. A single table, 2 chairs and a white tablecloth will set you back $25 for 2 hours. That's on top of the $84.90 for Entrecôte's Tray Posh picnic. Getting quick low because the table sets are almost booked out. In more good news overnight, a Brunswick pizza restaurant was named Best Pizzeria Outside Italy. Johnny Di Francesco's 400 Gradi also won Best Pizzeria in Oceania for a 3rd year in a row. Johnny joins me now on Bread and Butter. Welcome, Johnny.
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
Good. You just found out this morning. How have you celebrated?
I had a short black at about 6 o'clock in the morning and then went straight to work.
Oh, look, this is fantastic news. Look, I know you're really busy right now. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we all think you're fabulous, and I hope you do something to celebrate being the best pizza outside of Italy.
Thank you. No, thank you. I really appreciate it. And you know what? Some good news was required, especially with all my staff putting in so much effort and sort of giving this award is part of all of us, and it's I think made them realize that even through the tough times, we're still pushing forward and trying to do the best we possibly can with the situation.
Well, congratulations again, Johnny. If you want to taste Johnny's amazing Napoli-style pizza, just Google 400 Gradi and he'll deliver it to your door. Thanks, Johnny. Now to one of the world's most watched chefs, a man who's been cooking on Australian television since the last century, co-hosting shows like Good Chef, Bad Chef, Boys Weekend, among others, before making television history with a triumphant 12-year run on MasterChef. Of course, I'm talking about Gary Mehigan, and he joins me now. Welcome to Bread and Butter, Gary.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. Last century, I feel old enough as it is.
Isn't it? It's a pretty impressive
don't
stat.
That.
Well, I've been a journo since the last century, so we can be old together.
So you're okay.
So where are you now, Gary? Where are you now?
I'm actually on the Mornington Peninsula, so I'm in Mainridge. We've got a place down here, and we actually got caught down here, which is a nice place to be caught. On the second lockdown, we were having some renovations done at our house in Melbourne, and been living in the country life, which has been lovely.
Now, I'm told you've even got a veggie patch and you're planting lots of stuff down there. You turned into a farmer.
Yeah, look, I'm edging towards my retirement, aren't I? I'm 53, so that whole point
No,
of
no, 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 no. You
moving on.
can't be saying that.
No, it's you know what it is. It's we all three of us, on MasterChef were on this whirlwind of a not it's not even a television show. It's almost like a lifestyle. So many people around the world loved it. And I just wanted to slow down a bit, and I don't mean slow down totally. I just mean have more time to do what I want to do. And so, yeah, I planted a whole lot of fruit trees, and I've got a veggie garden going. It's all very junior at the moment, and I'm having lots of failure, which apparently is a gardening norm. You got to experiment.
Bit like the sourdough, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Well, sourdough for me, and it's quite funny during lockdown what everybody's been revisiting. Whether it's babka or cannelé or sourdough. That's some of those skills are a revisit from stuff that I haven't done for years. Like cooking sourdough in a restaurant doesn't happen a lot. We use bakers. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting part of my lockdown experience.
Now, you've spent a lot of time traveling, particularly in India, where you've got your own TV shows over there. So, and you've described yourself as the ultimate food tourist. So how are you coping with being stuck at Main Ridge?
It's a nightmare. Well, I shouldn't say that. People are saying, "Hang on a minute," it's pretty good. I think, for a foodie, and we're obviously all foodies, tuning into this, but travel is is the essential experience. Just it's not just pleasure, but gathering information. It's one of the great privileges in life. And as a young chef, when I rewind 30 years, I was ostracized in the dungeon of the first kitchen I worked in, and I was like that for many years. So the idea of travel and breaking down the borders and discovering things that are completely new is one of the great thrills in life. So yeah, it's driving me crazy. This year I was supposed to go to Japan, Sri Lanka, back to India, and back to the UK. So it's been different, like for many of us, but it's part of my job, so it makes it extra hard.
Yeah, well, look, of course, it's been devastating for Australia's hospitality industry, particularly in Melbourne, though, where we're still in lockdown. What are you hearing from your friends in restaurants and cafes?
I think everybody's putting a brave face on it, to be honest. Just listening to the news and how people are, looking at the option of outdoor dining and how they can make their businesses work. I mean, these are acts. I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody, and I don't have restaurants anymore, thank goodness. Is that you really can't make money doing this. I mean, there's some lucky ones out there that have used their experience. People like Shane Delia who have just gone, I need to think outside of the box, and created Providore. These are unique and fabulous, opportunities for people to jump on board, getting food into people's homes. But, going from, I'm just trying to put it nicely, but, going from, doing 100 covers a night to now being weather reliant, and putting 20 people on the street, socially distanced, and having all these extra measures in place make it almost impossible. So it does really, I think there's a lot of frustration out there. That's what I'm hearing. There's a lot of people really trying to stretch the brain to try and think how they can leverage better opportunities out of what is, completely unforeseen and catastrophic for the industry. We've never seen anything like it, obviously. So this is a difficult one, and it requires an open mind on behalf of everybody: government, local government, restaurateurs themselves, and customers. And I think a lot of us are just asking, what the hell are we doing all the hard yards for? If on October the 19th or 23rd or 28th or whatever it is, that we're still going to be, so restricted, even though we've got very little transmission, that we can't carry on with a normal life. And what that means for some of us is not being able to go out to eat. Well, that's tough. But what it means for many of us is that our businesses are going down the tubes. So that's the harsh reality. Look,
it is. And look, just to switch tack, your most recent TV gig, Fate of Origin, with Nat Preston and Manu Fildel, it wasn't so well received, Gary, and ratings took a bit of a dive. What do you think went wrong?
Yeah, I don't look at it like that. I go, come on, it's light-hearted cooking television. Something that before MasterChef nobody ever even gave two thoughts to. In fact, most TV executives and TV stations went, that's ridiculous, it'll never work. So even though we talked about the press love falling ratings, but 500,000 people watch the show every night. It's not bad. I'm talking from someone who 10 or 15 years ago was doing 3-minute appearances on, Bert Newton's Good Morning Australia, and we were the first chefs on TV. And I don't think anywhere close to 500,000 people were watching that. So, look, I think it's interesting, isn't it? How many successful cooking formats can you have? How, why are people locked into it? I think Matt and I felt that we made, some great television. It was feel good. It was an exploration of all the things that we love, the diversity in our communities. We had some great contestants, and so we really enjoyed it. And I think lots of people that watched it did too.
So are you in touch with George? I know you've been firm friends since he was an apprentice chef. So how's he going?
Yeah, sure. Look, let's be honest, he had a nightmare of, a year, in fact, a couple of years when we look at it. And I think, he certainly struggled, but, typically George, he's a man that can't be stopped. And so it's lovely to see that, his 5 p.m. how-to and, now launching into a new project, is giving him life. He's unstoppable. I think anybody that knows him beyond, what they read in terms of headlines in the press knows that, he's a man that, of enormous experience. He's one of our best chefs and was one of our best restaurateurs.
He's a powerhouse.
He's doing okay.
There's no doubt about that. Now, I'm told that you and Nat Preston are still contracted to Channel 7 to come up with new content. So what's next?
Yeah, no, one of the reasons really the only reason we moved to 7 was to make our own food programming. We just wanted to do something different. We've got about 4 or 5 concepts, pitched and, kind of ready to go. And one in particular that we're hoping is going to make, primetime television next year. So that's where all the effort's going. But anybody that's in TV will tell you it's not so easy. So we've got a few full-pack positions, but we've been working very hard to get something that is a little different, and that unlike Plate of Origin, where I think it's competition television that people were relating to MKR and MasterChef. That one idea in particular is very different. So that's what we're hanging our hats on.
So you're just about to release a book for Weight Watchers, and you have a podcast which brings in some great talent from the food world. What else is going to happen for Gary and Mehigan? What's next for you?
Well, the Weight Watchers book was done and dusted. That was an interesting experiment. Taking recipes that I've used for many years or on my travels and trying to remove all the fat. I mean, for a chef like me, who's always struggled with his weight, let's be honest, it was hell. But we had some great success, and I learned quite a bit. But I'm working on another book at the moment. I'm doing Gary's Essentials. Lots of standby recipes, things like, and I'm doing some testing of stuff like chocolate cake. Oh, gee, how many chocolate cakes I've tested, and we're now just, giving them away over the fence.
I want to come and visit you at your place. That sounds fantastic. Gary, it's always such a pleasure to talk with you. And look, I think whatever you do next, we'll all be watching.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for your time today, Gary. That was Gary Mehigan, who may well be the world's most watched chef. And he's got some tasty TV projects coming up around the globe, so watch this space. My next guest has also made waves on MasterChef, stumping contestants with her brilliant Vietnamese cooking. I'm talking about the chef behind Phở Nom, Annam and Bia Hoi in Glen Waverley, the indefatigable Jerry Mai. And she joins me now. Thanks for taking time out of your crazy day, Jerry.
Hi, Wendy.
Now, what a year, hey? What a year.
I know. Who expected this? Who expected to be locked indoors for 6, 7, how many months now? I've lost count after 6 months.
What day is it anyway?
I don't know. I don't know.
So what you've just decided to reopen your business after having a Rona hiatus for a couple of months. How's that going?
Look, it was the decision that we made because our staff, they weren't feeling comfortable coming to work, and we had to look after our staff. So we just took a little break, and it was really nice. I mean, I have to say, with all businesses aside, personally and for my family, it was fantastic. I have a 2.5, nearly 3-year-old, and for the first bit of his life, I was working, 80 hours, 90 hours a week, and really never got to see him. And now I'm actually enjoying the time with him.
Well, that's one of the silver linings for the hospitality industry, that you've been able to reopen under your own terms and work days and deliver food in a time that suits you. If you found that quite revolutionary, not being chained to a stove for 80 hours a week?
Oh, look, it's been fantastic. Now we set the guidelines of which days we want to open, how we want to do our food, how our food's going to be delivered and presented, and all that stuff. It's a nice change, you know.
Yeah. So you've got a relatively new restaurant in Glen Waverley, which sets you up really well for delivery right around Melbourne. But what about your CBD restaurants, Fernam and Annam? Do you think that the CBD is ever going to recover?
Look, I think the CBD is in a lot of trouble, and that's why we've been having a lot of discussions with our colleagues that are in the CBD. And, our fear is that offices will soon realise that they don't need, 5,000 square metres in an office anymore. They realise that they can have part of their workforce at home. And what does that mean for the lunchtime trade? For like Fernam, it's a QSR. People come and grab something to eat, go back to the office. It's healthy, it's cheap. I'm concerned about the landscape of how the CBD is going to look, and then the recovery time. We're all waiting now to. It doesn't matter when you say restaurants can open on the 19th or whatever, because the CBD relies heavily on shopping foot traffic. People going and workers in the CBD, and until the government says you can go back to work, the CBD will be in a lot of trouble for a very long time.
What do you think of the state government and City of Melbourne plan to reclaim laneways and put more outdoor dining in the CBD?
I think it's great. I think they should have done that years ago. They shouldn't have waited for a pandemic to do that. However, I just received a letter from the City of Melbourne asking for my food at registration payments to be made.
Ouch.
They were very nice, though. They gave me a 25% discount. So instead of being about $800, now it's $570, I think. It was very nice of them.
Yeah, well, see, that's the sort of thing that just should be waived if you can't make any money at all on your business in the CBD at the moment.
Well, most of the other councils have waived that cost, except for Melbourne CBD.
Well, hopefully someone from the City of Melbourne is watching the show today and they do something about it.
Yeah.
So what's next for Jerry Mai? Tell us what you've got planned. I mean, you're busy doing amazing home style deliveries through Beahoya out in Glen Waverley, which is like, 20, 30 kilometre delivery zone, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So what are you ready for? I know you've always got a plan up your sleeve.
Look, you know what? At the moment, I'm really enjoying cooking home food, food that I love cooking when I'm at home or when I go to my mum's house, stuff that we can never put in a restaurant because not many people really order it. But, we've had some really good feedback in the takeaway boxes and things like that, where they said these are not dishes that they would actually order, but it's delicious and it's been really good. So I'm really enjoying cooking that. And if you follow my Instagram, I've been cooking a lot of that at home during things lockdown anyway. So to actually, it's been fantastic. It's been heaps of fun. But what do I hold? I know. I think of hospitality. I'm super tired. This whole lockdown has, made me a bit tired and sorry to say, but a bit disillusioned about hospitality. In the fact that we haven't really come together. And really, rallied and represented the industry. Where we've got groups of people making different noises and throwing different things at the government. I think we need to be a little bit more uniform, with one voice to come together and going, exactly, this is what we want. I mean, Ronnie D'Estasio, I thought his open letter was fantastic.
That's Ronnie D'Estasio.
Yeah. And that's him laying out the 5 things that he wants to see change in the industry. I think we need to be more concise. We need to be more unified in what we're doing. We're talking about outdoor dining. I think it's fantastic. I don't know why we haven't done it years ago. Probably today is not a very good example of it. But we get given something and people start complaining about it. I've been in hospitality for so long that you give me lemons, I'll make a lemonade. I won't ask for an orange.
Yeah.
So
it's a good way to be. Give me one more silver lining out of the Rona. What else have you been able to enjoy or change in your business?
Look, I think it goes back to like those 80 hours, and I want to do that. I want to make staff to be able to look after that and not do that. And I'm toying with the idea of going overseas. I think I'm going to Vietnam. I'm toying with that idea very, very much.
Well, when you do that, make it a tour group, and I'm signing up to go and eat my way through Vietnam with you, Jerry. Thank you. Look, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you today. It's always great to hear your take on things. I'm looking forward to trying the Beahoy family box. It's inspired by your mum's cooking, which just sounds fantastic. Yeah. So thanks so much for joining us today, Jerry.
Thank you, Wendy.
Okay, that was Jerry Mai, the owner and executive chef at Beahoy, Phnom and Annam. Now from Vietnamese with a twist to American barbecue with all the trimmings. My next guest is one of Australia's most entrepreneurial barbecue aficionados, the executive chef and co-owner of Fancy Hanks in Melbourne, Mike Patrick. Welcome to Bread and Butter, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on today, Wendy.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, you're always coming up with new ways for us to enjoy American barbecue. Now that we're all in lockdown, and you're especially in lockdown being in the CBD with absolutely nobody around, you must have a bit of extra time for your creative streak to go into overdrive. So tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, look, it has been pretty tough in the city. It's as Jerry was just saying, there's not much going on, no people here, but we're trying to use the time to really develop, I don't know, just some other interesting bits and pieces. So we're working on a lot of barbecue sauces and condiments and some canned cocktails and some fun stuff.
Now, is it true that you've set up a benchtop canning machine at your restaurant?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah. We've got a little benchtop canner. We've laid out all the tables with a bit of a production line, and turning it into a manufacturing warehouse. I don't know. You got to do what you got to do.
Well, that's so true. But I have to say, I don't know if I'm terrified or elated to hear that you've started canning wine coolers.
Why not? Basically, we bought a can and we thought we'll put anything in it that we can think of and put it to market and see what happens. And yeah, a bit of inspiration behind the old West Coast cooler. Some really cool wine spritz type cocktails in a can. And yeah, look, I don't know. There's a lot of really highbrow bottle cocktailing going on, which I don't think fits us. We like to be a bit more daggy. So that's where it came from.
Look, I have to say, I have tasted your wine coolers in a can, and absolutely delicious. It surprised me because I don't have great memories of the old West Coast cooler.
Well, we try to improve on something like that, I think. Yeah.
And you're also making your own baked beans and all sorts of things and canning those as well. Can people buy them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're finalising we're going to do some pit smoked baked beans and mac and cheese in a can. So that will hopefully be for sale in a couple of weeks. Look, I think it's been a good opportunity to just try some new stuff, see what we can get out there. And we've been doing our own barbecue and hot sauces in retail for the last year and a half, and we've seen really big growth in that in the last 6 months during COVID. So it's been quite positive to have something like that to work on.
You've also been quite innovative, and I've been really pleased to see that you're involved in a local business that's taking it to the HelloFresh and Marley Spoons out there, who are overseas-owned companies who are doing extremely well under the corona lockdown in Melbourne. But you're doing something different where people get the meal box, the bag of goodies delivered with everything you need to make a meal from scratch, but it's from a restaurant. So I just think it's an awesome idea. How's that been going?
It's been going really well. Yeah, it's been probably a month with make-out meals, and it's been picked up quite surprising actually how many people have been buying it. So it's just a fun way of doing, I guess, being able to cook at home, but then and having those little extra bits and pieces like the smoked meats, which is, maybe it's a bit hard to do a 16-hour smoked brisket at home, but we can provide that part of it. and then the recipe, and we're working on some video content as well, which has been really fun. Yeah.
Now, I have to say, you've got one of the best spots in Melbourne to sit and dine, overlooking the plane trees on Burke Street through some beautiful old windows, which have been coming up on during this interview. Now, it must be just awful seeing it completely quiet at that top end of Burke Street. What's it been like?
Yeah, it's been really hard. It's been 25 years I've been cooking in Melbourne, and most of that has been in the middle of the city at various restaurants. And I've always said, if you're going to have a business, smack bang on Burke Street, across the road from Guy Grossi and up near Parliament, you're going to be okay. But the last few months have been, it's heartbreaking. There's nobody on the street. There's the corporate. Everyone's working from home, and we're all forced to shut down. So it's been really tough. Yeah, it's been quite sad coming into work each day and trying to keep the morale up and everybody motivated. My staff are awesome, and we're all committed to getting through this and getting reopened. But it has been hard. Yeah, it's been sad. What
would you like to see happen in the CBD to help put a rocket up the old girl?
Oh, definitely. I've just got out of meetings yesterday with the council, and I've spoken to a bunch of traders on Burke Street in the last week, and I've got a lot more to talk to as well. And we're going to try to do really embrace that open air dining. I've heard a lot of people say that it's not viable, and it's true. I mean, we're on the first floor. We don't really have street dining. We have a rooftop bar which we can use hopefully. But we're trying to rally everyone together, like Jerry was just saying, we need to launch this and have a summer where we can eat outside, share customers, share experience, and really encourage people to come back into the city. I think it's going to need a lot of help, I believe, but I'm sure we can do it.
Yeah, I'm sure we can do with people like you and Jerry pushing from behind it. I'm sure we'll get there. Now, if people want to buy your brisket at home, they just need to Google Fancy Hanks, and I'm sure they'll find all sorts of options for getting delivery, which is good news in these times. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Mike.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
It was my pleasure. That was Mike Patrick, co-owner of Fancy Hanks in Burke Street, Melbourne. You've been watching Bread and Butter, brought to you by HungryHungry. I'm Wendy Hargreaves, and I'll be back next week with more news from behind the scenes of the food and drink business. Until then, eat well and stay safe.
Stream us live on the Ticker app, Apple TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and tickertv.com.au. Ticker, streaming news now.